Don't pretend you've never been shaken. We all have. You walk into a room, say nothing, and suddenly the air shifts. Someone stumbles over their words. Eyes flicker. Conversations lose their rhythm. You tell yourself it's coincidence, but deep down you know it's not. You know it. Real magnetism doesn't come from noise or performance. It's more like the moon. You don't command attention, yet the whole night is drawn to your light. Most people chase attention like a prize, but Stoic wisdom reveals the opposite. What makes you unforgettable is not what you perform, but what you radiate when you're not performing at all. In this video, we'll explore 15 unspoken social habits that build silent magnetism, habits that work in family, in love, in friendships, in your workplace, even in the quiet hours with yourself. And along the way, I'll hand you a practice, simple, rare, something you can test tonight, one that could reverse the way others respond to you as soon as tomorrow. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop chasing attention and start realizing the silent weight you already carry? Then lean in and let's begin. 1. The aura of calm presence. Why is it that some people walk into a room and everyone feels their weight without them saying a word? It's not looks, not clothing, not money. It's presence, a calm, steady presence that makes others instinctively adjust around them. Think about being at a family dinner. Two people argue loudly across the table, but the one relative who stays calm, eats quietly, and only speaks when needed, everyone ends up respecting that person more than the ones raising their voices. Calm presence makes you magnetic because it shows you don't need attention. You command it by existing with composure. The Stoics saw this as the highest form of strength, the man who rules himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When others lose themselves in anger or noise, you become unshakable by simply not joining. So ask yourself, when you step into a room, are you adding to the noise or shifting the energy by carrying calm? Calm doesn't only protect you, it heals the room around you. Sometimes your steadiness is the anchor another person silently needed. 2. Detachment that protects your energy. Most of us leak energy because we react to everything. An offhand comment from a coworker, a delayed message from someone we care about, or even a stranger's frown. One look can hijack your entire mood. That's not power, that's slavery. Picture this. Your friend cancels dinner last minute. Instantly, you replay every possible reason. Did I do something wrong? Do they not value me? Instead of enjoying your evening, you're drained by stories you invented. Emotional detachment breaks this cycle. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop bleeding energy over what's not yours to carry. Epictetus put it simply, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Try this. Next time someone disappoints you, instead of spiraling, breathe and remind yourself, their choice is their weight. I don't have to carry it. I remember a night when a close friend canceled our meeting. I felt wounded, thinking I had done something wrong. Later, I learned his father was in the hospital. That's when I realized detachment frees you from misjudging silence. Everyone carries storms you cannot see. You'll be shocked how light you feel when you protect your energy. Most people think caring more makes you stronger. The truth? It makes you weaker because you carry weights that were never yours. So here's the real question. How many invisible battles are you fighting daily that were never even yours? If this lesson hits you, drop the word light in the comments. It might remind another man here that he's not carrying his storm alone. 3. Mindful indifference. Not every battle deserves your sword. Yet most men fight daily wars with shadows. Comments online, side eyes at work, traffic jams that steal entire evenings. You end up drained, while the world moves on untouched. Picture a man scrolling late at night. One insult from a stranger ruins his sleep, while the stranger snores peacefully. Who really lost? That's the trap of overcaring. Mindful indifference is the cure. It doesn't mean apathy. It means precision, choosing what deserves your attention and starving the rest. Epictetus warned, when someone does you wrong, you should think, what was his impression? If it seems right to him, he is the one who suffers. The insult reveals more about them than you. So next time a jab comes your way, ask, does this even matter tomorrow? Most of the time, the answer is no. Let silence carry more weight than reaction. Most people think attraction is about adding more. In truth, it's about subtracting what drains you. Because indifference, when chosen wisely, is not weakness, it's control. Think of firewood. Not every spark deserves your logs. Some sparks burn out when ignored. The wise man saves his fire for what truly matters. You don't stop to argue with every drunk man on the street. You walk past because your journey is larger than their noise. The same applies online, at work, in your home. Indifference, when chosen, is not cold. It's the clearest form of strength. And keep listening. Later in this video, I'll share a small practice you can try tonight to prove to yourself how powerful this really is. 6. Composure under pressure. Pressure strips away the mask. Some men explode, others collapse. But the man who trains himself, he bends without breaking, like bamboo in the wind. Most men in traffic jams act tougher than bamboo. They act like boiling kettles. Horns, curses, red faces. But all that steam doesn't move the car an inch. Picture a heated argument at home. Voices rise, pulse quickens, sparks fly. Most men fuel the fire, but composure is the art of starving chaos. One steady pause, one held silence, and suddenly the storm loses its grip. It's not about winning, it's about refusing to burn down the house just to prove you're right. I once argued with my mother. Her voice rose, mine wanted to. But in that still second, I remembered, if I exploded, I would wound the woman who once carried me. So I chose quiet. Her anger softened into tears, and the storm ended in silence instead of fire. Composure doesn't just protect pride, it protects love. Not to win, not to wound, not to dominate, only to protect what matters. And the strange thing is, when you protect love, it often protects you back. People may not remember every word you said, but they will never forget the day you chose patience over rage. Epictetus wrote, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." Under pressure, your true self is exposed. The question is, will you shatter or reveal strength? Composure is not numbness, it's clarity. The ability to stand steady when others shake. And strangely, it's the very thing that makes people lean on you when the world tilts. So I'll ask you, when the next wave of pressure comes, will you be the storm or the anchor? If you know someone who needs this reminder, share this video with them. One calm sea can change a storm. 7. Let go of what you can't control. Most of our pain isn't from events. It's from the grip we refuse to loosen. You want life to follow your script, your timing, your pace. But the tighter you pull, the harder reality resists. Think about walking a stubborn dog. You tug left, it pulls right. You drag harder, it plants its paws, and the whole walk becomes a fight. Now loosen the leash, adjust your stride, and suddenly the walk is peaceful. Life is the same. Trying to control life is like trying to push a river backwards. You just get wet, exhausted, and still end up flowing the same way. Funny how the moment you stop gripping, life sometimes hands you something even better than what you begged for. My sister once argued with me for a week about a childhood memory, until we found an old photo proving we were both wrong. We had wasted all that energy on a ghost. The Stoics repeated this truth. You cannot control events, only your response. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be." Freedom begins the moment you release what was never yours to command. Most people think control creates freedom. The Stoics knew the opposite. Freedom begins the moment you let control go. So the next time a plan collapses, ask, was this ever in my control? If not, the suffering is optional. And strangely, when you release control, life often surprises you with gentleness you didn't expect. Letting go creates space for peace, for trust, for healing. Stay with me. At part 9, I'll give you one practice, not theory, that you can bring into your life tonight. 8. Silence as power. Sometimes the sharpest comeback is no comeback at all. Silence unsettles people in a world addicted to noise. The man who pauses, who doesn't rush to defend or explain, suddenly shifts the balance. Picture a negotiation. One side makes an offer, expecting instant reaction. You say nothing. The silence stretches and they start filling it, sweetening the deal, exposing their nerves. Your power grew not from words but restraint. Have you ever noticed how people talk more when you stay quiet? In fact, silence makes people negotiate with themselves. They fill the gap you left. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best answer to anger is silence." Silence isn't avoidance. It's proof of control. Words reveal, silence conceals, and mystery often commands more respect than speech. So here's the question. Are you wasting strength proving your point when silence could prove it louder? Because silence isn't emptiness. It's a mirror. And in that mirror, people often see more truth than your words could ever tell. 9. Train your mind every day. We spend hours training our bodies, but almost no time training the one thing that shapes every moment, our mind. And then we wonder why the smallest insult, the tiniest delay, can ruin an entire day. Picture the man who never misses a workout, yet one sharp email from his boss sends him sulking for hours. Muscles strong, but mind fragile. The Stoics knew the real battlefield isn't outside, it's within. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery doesn't appear in crisis. It's built quietly in daily practice. Reading, reflecting, holding one promise to yourself each morning. Your mind is like a compass. Steady, it points true north. Shaken, it spins wildly. And most men live their lives lost because they never trained it. So let me ask you, when pressure comes, will your mind break or reveal the strength you've trained? In the darkest months of my life, when I was rebuilding from nothing, I forced myself to hold one promise each morning. Just a glass of water before sunrise. Small, almost silly, but it rebuilt my strength one kept promise at a time. Sometimes the smallest rituals are the ones that save you. If you're still here, you're already training your mind. Press like now. It tells me you're practicing, not just watching. And because you've stayed with me until this moment, you deserve something different. Not another theory, not another philosophy, but something you can test with your own hands, your own voice, tonight. Go to one person close to you, your partner, your child, your friend, and give them just one sentence of trust. It could be, "I believe in you," or "You can count on me," or "I trust your strength." Don't dress it up, don't explain it. Say it once, then let the silence hold it. Watch their eyes. You'll see it land, like a stone dropping deep into water, sending ripples you can't always see. but that you know will travel far. Here's why this matters. Most men wait years to speak these words. They wait until the timing feels safe, until success arrives, until applause surrounds them. But the words that save someone's soul often come too late. Don't wait. Sometimes one sentence can turn a heavy day into light for them and for you. Because every time you declare trust, you remind your own heart that you are strong enough to carry others. So tonight, offer this gift. Not for applause, not for habit, but as proof that your calm, silent strength can become someone else's shield. And maybe without even knowing, you'll also shield yourself. 10. Master the art of moving in silence. The loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest. Noise reveals direction, but silence protects it. Real strength doesn't announce itself. It arrives complete. Think of the craftsman in his workshop. He doesn't post every stroke of the blade online. He just works, day after day, unnoticed. Then one morning, the finished piece stands, polished, undeniable. That's how a Stoic builds his life. Quiet effort, loud results. It's also like an archer drawing his bow in the dark. No announcement, no warning shot, just quiet focus. And when the arrow finally flies, it's too fast, too sharp to stop. That's the power of moving in silence. Preparation hidden, impact undeniable. Epictetus warned, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Moving in silence means letting your life prove itself without begging for recognition. Here's the paradox. The less you reveal, the harder you are to predict, to stop, or to control. When you speak less, people lean in more. When you keep your path hidden, your results arrive with twice the weight. Be honest. Are you exhausting yourself talking about the man you want to be? Or are you quietly becoming him? Do you want to be the man who talks about change, or the man who becomes it? 11. Build respect without demanding it. Respect is never won by begging. It comes naturally when your values are clear and your actions steady. The man who commands attention without asking for it is the man others remember. Picture the neighbor who constantly brags, his new car, his promotion, his perfect family dinners. Everyone listens politely, but no one admires him. Then picture the quieter man. No boasting, no shouting, just steady kindness. Calm in conflict, firm when challenged. Who earns the deeper respect? Always the second. Respect doesn't grow louder the more you demand it. It grows quieter the more you live it. The Stoics taught that respect grows from within. Seneca said, if you want to be respected, respect yourself. Live by standards, not by moods. Hold boundaries with calm, not aggression. And slowly, people adjust their tone when speaking to you. So instead of asking, why doesn't anyone respect me? Ask, am I respecting myself in silence, in choices, in the way I carry my life? Because respect built this way lasts far longer than applause. 12. When criticism becomes your teacher. Criticism feels sharp, like an arrow. But here's the truth. It only pierces if you let it. Most of the time, it's just air leaving someone else's mouth. Imagine a wave crashing against a rock. Loud, violent, endless. But the rock doesn't break. That's what calm does with criticism. You don't need to defend every jab, every careless comment, because the more you defend, the more you look owned by their words. Musonius Rufus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish. Sometimes being misunderstood is proof you're moving. So practice this. The next time you're criticized, pause. Ask, is this wisdom or is it noise? If it's wisdom, use it. If it's noise, let it drift away like smoke. Because in the end, the critic wastes their breath. but you keep your peace. But here's the deeper trap. What if the harshest critic was living inside your own head? Would you defend yourself against you? I remember once reading a nasty comment online. My first thought, should I clap back? But then I asked, will this stranger even remember me tomorrow? That question saved me an hour of typing and maybe years of peace. Remember, staying calm doesn't just protect you. It gives others permission to breathe again, to stop fighting shadows. Your peace becomes contagious. You become like a rooted tree. Your calm gives shade to others, reminding them they don't have to wrestle with every passing wind. If this truth landed with you, share it forward. Someone else out there might be losing their peace to words that were never worth it. 13. Own what is yours. Most of us waste our days wrestling with what isn't ours. Other people's moods, society's opinions, the weather, even luck. And while we're busy chasing ghosts, the only things we truly own sit neglected. Our thoughts, our actions, our choices. The Stoics were clear. Your mind is your kingdom, your discipline is your armor, and your actions are your legacy. Everything else is rented land. Think about this. Two men lose their jobs on the same day. One blames the economy, his boss, the unfair world. The other takes a breath, updates his skills, and sends out applications before the night ends. Same storm, different ownership. One drowns, the other rows. Epictetus put it simply, you may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus has the power to break my will. That's ownership. No one can touch what is yours unless you hand it over. So here's a question worth asking yourself tonight. Are you guarding your own territory, or are you bleeding energy fighting over ground that never belonged to you? Because the man who owns his mind, his choices, and his conduct, he doesn't just survive, he commands. 14. Composure under pressure. Pressure is the stage where most men reveal themselves. Some explode, others collapse. But the one who has trained stands steady, even when the storm breaks at home or at work. Think of a bridge built of steel. Cars rush, storms rage. Thousands of tons of weight pass over it every day. It creaks, it groans, but it holds. That's composure. Not the absence of pressure, but the quiet strength to bear it without breaking. I once stood in line at an airport when a flight was suddenly canceled. Around me, grown men shouted at the clerk, fists slamming the counter, voices sharp with panic. I felt the same frustration boiling, but instead of joining the storm, I pulled out my phone, rebooked quietly, and stepped aside. Hours later, while others were still shouting, I was already on the next plane. Composure is like that bridge. People trust it not because it never faces weight, but because it holds steady when everything else shakes. Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." And that's the test. Pressure will come. The only question is, will it expose you or reveal you? Because in the end, composure is not coldness, it's clarity. And the man who carries clarity under fire becomes the anchor everyone else clings to when the storm hits. 15. The silent force that speaks loudest. The strongest presence often speaks the least. Silence unsettles, but it also commands. In a world addicted to noise, the man who is comfortable with stillness suddenly shifts the balance. Think of a courtroom after a verdict is read. The lawyer argues, the crowd murmurs. But the one who remains silent, steady, lets time itself confirm the truth. That is power without a word. Years later, I met someone who once mocked me, saying I would never rise again. I said nothing. I just stood calm, silent, and saw he was still in the same place, while time had carried me forward. That day I learned silence is justice. Growth needs no announcement. Life speaks for you. Most men spend years shouting to prove they've changed, but silence proves it louder than words ever could. Silence is not just strategy, it's memory, because years may erase words, but silence leaves a mark people carry for a lifetime. People may forget your words, but they never forget how your silence made them feel. Safe, unsettled, or in awe. Not to argue, not to defend, not to announce, only to stand, silent and whole. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence, not because silence ignores truth, but because it protects your center. When words fail, presence speaks." So ask yourself, are you wasting strength proving your point when your silence could prove it louder? You've just walked through 15 unspoken habits that shape real attraction. Not tricks, not empty strategies, but ways of living that make you magnetic without effort. Calm, composure, steadiness, silence. These are the forces that bend the room without raising a voice. The Stoics remind us, presence is not noise. It is weight carried quietly. It is clarity guarded fiercely. And it is the calm that others feel when the world is shaking. So from today, stop chasing attention. Build steadiness. Train your mind. Let go of what was never yours. And when you do, you'll find something rare, respect, trust, and attraction that follows you not because you demanded it, but because you became it. And now, let me ask you one last question. If people will forget what you said and forget what you did, but never forget the calm you carried, what kind of presence will you choose to leave behind? And maybe tonight, as you sit in your quiet room, you'll realize you don't need to perform, to chase, to prove. You only need to carry your calm. That presence, unspoken yet undeniable, will outlast every noise. That is your legacy. The world is loud with men shouting for respect, but the rarest man is the one who carries calm so deep it unsettles the noise itself. That is the presence no one forgets. So breathe tonight, knowing you don't need to perform, to chase, to prove. You only need to carry your calm. Let it be your shield, your gift, and your quiet revolution. If this message stays with you, subscribe and stay close. Each week we build this strength together, not for applause, but for the quiet power that cannot be shaken.